In the previous topic, we discussed the day of the interview and how to sell yourself. In this topic, we'll be discussing what to do post-interview to give you the most chance of success. If you think you nailed the interview or the recruiter said, keep in touch, don't just sit and wait for the phone to ring with a job offer. Instead, be proactive. There are things you should do after a job interview that can increase the odds of getting a second interview or landing a job offer. Do an interview assessment. Immediately after completing an interview, write a summary of the questions you were asked along with the answers. This will preserve a record of your responses for future reference if you secure a follow-up interview. Also, note anything you wish you'd said to the interviewer but didn't get the opportunity. That way, if you get a second interview, you can make a note to mention these items. A thorough interview assessment will also provide you with details to address in your follow-up communications. In addition, you'll be able to identify any problem areas in your presentation so you can improve them and be even more prepared for future interviews. Document contact information and next steps. At the conclusion of the interview, ask about the process moving forward. Will the interviewer be contacting candidates in a week for a second interview? Making a decision in 10 days? Do they notify everyone who applied or just the successful candidates? Knowing what to expect can determine when to follow up and can reduce any anxiety you might feel about the whole interview and hiring process. Keep track of everyone you talk to during this process. If you're interviewed by multiple people, record any useful information or particular concerns raised by each person. Make a note of the interviewer's names and contact information, or later, ask the person who coordinated the interview for those details. Getting the names of everyone involved in your interview is crucial because you'll want to follow up with a thank you note for everyone in the interview. A well-written thank you note helps make a great impression on your potential employers. Follow up with the hiring manager. Decisions about candidates are often made quickly, so it's important to send your follow-up email immediately the same day if possible. You want your interviewers to remember you, and these follow-ups can make a good impression. The follow-up email doesn't have to be too long. Keep it succinct, thanking the interviewer for taking the time to speak with you, and mention these elements in your communication. An assertion that you believe the position is an excellent fit and that you would welcome the opportunity to join the organization. Include a brief summary of 1 or 2 sentences indicating why the position is an excellent match given your assets and interests. Supply any additional information that will address areas of concern that you were unable to fully address during the interview. For example, you might want to include a work sample demonstrating your competence in a key area of employer concern. Express your appreciation for the opportunity to meet, and if possible, compose slightly different personalized emails for each interviewer rather than just copy and pasting the whole email. Note something helpful that was shared with you by each individual. This is a nice touch. You definitely want to leave a good impression on all parties involved and be memorable. In addition, consider forwarding a separate communication expressing your gratitude to any helpful support staff you met. These support staff have more influence than you might think when it comes to hiring decisions. You want as many people on your side as possible. Connect with your interviewer online. It's a good idea to think beyond the current position for which you've just been interviewed for, because you're potentially creating a long-term relationship with this interviewer, even if you don't secure the immediate job opening. Review your post-interview notes and connect with your interviewer through LinkedIn by finding an opening for a connection based on a discussion that arose during your interview. Perhaps you mention a newspaper article relevant to their business that you'd like to forward, for instance. These connections are important because if you don't get the current position, something might pop up later and the interviewer might make a connection with you. Notify your references. Having suitable references are going to be essential for your job search, and you don't want them to feel like they're being cold called by your potential employer. So, if you haven't already, alert your references that they may receive a call or email and summarize your case for the job and add in any points you may want them to stress in their recommendation. In addition, if any of your strongest supporters have a contact within your prospective company, consider exploring their willingness to make an unsolicited endorsement on your behalf. People usually like to be helpful, but don't forget to show appreciation for their endorsement with a follow-up thank you letter or email. In fact, sending a thank you note to all your references may be a good idea. In this topic, we've discussed the importance and steps to be taken after the interview. This concludes the topics in this course. I wish you all the best in your job search.